with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Corman?
Present.
Mr. Sharp?
Here.
Ms. Dessauer? Present. Mr. Becker?
Here.
Mr. Kapora?
Present.
Mr. Wilkening?
Here.
Mr. Oliphant?
Here.
Mr. Austin?
Present.
Mr. Salatas?
Present.
Ms. Murr? Present. Ms. Abernathy? Present.
Thank you. Okay, let's get to it. Cedar View, final plat, two-lot subdivision, owners James and Samantha Brooker, 17316 Camelot Drive, Lowell, Indiana. Petitioner, Cedar Lake Property LLC, 17316 Camelot Drive, Lowell. Vicinity 7936 Lakeshore Drive, Cedar Lake. Petitioner is requesting final plat for a two-lot subdivision. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Jim Brooker, here tonight requesting final plat for a two-lot subdivision.
Okay. Don, is it everything for this complete?
Everything is complete.
Everything? Okay, all right.
Good in 2 weeks.
Okay, building department?
Be good in 2 weeks. You have
Good in
your
2
final
weeks.
engineer review letter from Don.
It's good now, it should be good in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Don't change anything. Don't breathe, don't move.
Does anyone on the commission have any questions, concerns?
No, sir.
Mr. Option?
No,
What
sir.
is the latest letter we have from Don? I have one in my file, January 10th or 11th.
February
February
24th.
24th, so you just finished it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, since there's no questions, no concerns, I think we should be good in 2 weeks.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, very good.
Have a good night.
You do the same. Thank you. Have a good night.
We're going to skip over item 2,
Yeah.
go to item 3.
That was the end of the good meetings. Don't put me at the end.
Next week.
You know, it's too late for that.
Next week.
Okay. Item 2, Perez, 13901 Lac Drive, final plat, two-lot subdivision. Owner petitioner Ricardo Perez, 13901 Lac Drive, Cedar Lake. Vicinity is 13901 Lac Drive, Cedar Lake. Petitioner is requesting a final plat for a two-lot subdivision. Good evening.
Good evening, Jack Helms from DBG, representing the Perez family. We are seeking a final plat. I think should be in order in this.
Okay. Mr. Oliphant?
We should be okay. We got the final plat on Friday, right? So we're still looking at it, but should be pretty ministerial.
No,
Should be okay in 2 weeks.
no strange caveats hanging out there?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. All right. Jill, anything?
No, we should be good in 2 weeks.
Okay. Mr. Austin? 1892.
Just
No, I still
a
have it.
reminder for the record, we would withhold signature on that final plat, pending receiving that demolition permit, and
Yeah.
getting the structure done.
Yeah, and that'll go through the building department with
That would go through the building
Michelle,
department.
correct?
Okay. Mr. Austin?
I don't think I still have a copy of the typed Glenmore and interpreted 1892 easement. Do we have that here? I mean, I've seen the 1892.
No, it was provided to your office, not mine.
Thanks, make sure you do.
Would you please? Yeah, I think it belongs in the file, and belongs with the attached to the,
It makes it a lot easier to read, that's for sure.
well,
Yeah, because what was floating around here was hard to,
I thought it was on parchment paper and that Don Ferenga delivered it.
Well, the copies, it looks like that, so.
Yeah, well, some of the names
This
look
way you
like.
can be seen, and that's what happened.
Okay, the building department's good, town engineer's good, legal's good. Does anyone on the commission have any questions or concerns?
No, I drove down Lac Drive last night for the first time in my life. Went to the end.
Stop.
turned around, it's
Your first time in your life.
It's a great view from there, I have to say. I've never been down that road.
Yeah, it's
So before the meeting last night.
a.
Went down Binion and then down there.
You've seen it from the water, though.
I've seen it from the water, but
See what you've been missing?
it's a great view.
It's a great view.
That's all I got.
The first time in your whole life?
First time down Lac Drive.
Oh, come on.
First time.
Okay,
You know it's not public, so you really not.
The list of those is a mile long with him.
Should've gone down there before.
Okay, if there's nothing else, 2 weeks.
Got it.
Okay, thanks, Jack.
Now it gets harder.
Okay, item 4. I knew I'd get one of you. Item 3, Schilling Distribution Center, final plat, 1-lot subdivision, vicinity is 10501 West 133rd Avenue, Cedar Lake. Petitioners requesting final plat for a 1-lot subdivision. Good evening.
Good evening, Jack Slager, representing Schilling Lumber. We are planning to expand the distribution center. We have a 25,000 square foot addition planned to the north end of the building. We did come before you in January, I believe, conducted the public hearing for the primary plat, and that there were no remonstrators, so the public hearing was open and closed. We will be attending the BZA next week to request the variance to allow us to have the frontage on 133rd Avenue. If you recall, there was a little bit of debate whether we're going to call the frontage Industrial Drive or whether we were going to call the frontage 133rd Avenue. We decided to stick with the original plan, leave the frontage as 133rd Avenue. We have the 60-foot strip that fronts on 133rd. Your old ordinance, which we fall under the old ordinance, requires 80 foot of frontage in the industrial zone. So we will be attending the BZA next week, hopefully getting a favorable recommendation for the 60-foot frontage allowance, and then everything else should be pretty straightforward for the 1-lot subdivision 2 weeks from now.
Okay. Don, any questions?
That's correct. I think that BZA variance should be approved.
And I believe our contractor has already applied for the building permit from Chester out of Valpo. They're anxious to get started as soon as the weather breaks, so.
Okay. Building department?
No, exactly as Jack said, you know, we're kind of caught between two zoning ordinances here, so in order to keep things moving, this is the route that was approached, and we're following through with.
Okay. All right. Any commission questions or concerns?
No, sir.
I have a story. This building.
I said no.
This building, the town gave it to Anderson Door.
Goshen
with
Sash and Door.
tax
Goshen Sash and Door.
Grand Rapids.
Yeah,
Grand
Grand
Rapids
Rapids, but
Door.
they made Anderson
Windows.
products.
Yep.
And Mayor Forsythe, they came to him first trying to find a location, and he sent them down to us. And with doing that, when they had the open house, I asked Frank Schilling, would you have came here if this building was not here? And he said no. So because we gave tax abatement, we had the building, we're having growth, and that's more of a tax base for the town.
Well,
You guys should have turned it into the field house years ago, Bob, part of the Parks Department. That would have been a wise decision. But I like the industrial park.
It's a great building.
It is.
and it was quite a value.
Yeah, worked out for us.
It's quite a value. I do have a question, though. Was there any documentation or any discussion in this building regarding some path or road from 133rd to the north face of that building for emergency services? Was there ever any discussion about that?
We had discussion at a staff level, not from a path from 133rd, but about being able to provide fire protection around the entirety of the building, around that north side.
Yeah.
So the goal is to drive around the north end of the building, is that, or come off 133rd? What's the?
Drive around the north off of their parking lot.
Okay, so nothing coming from 133rd.
No, there's drainage that goes through there.
Yeah,
Well, you couldn't make it all the way there, but you could make it.
You could access it.
We could
The
actually-
drainage is on the far east part of the entrance road, and there is a driveway apron on 133rd.
yeah.
So you could come.
Yeah, it
down
was
that
never
stretch.
our intention to have a driveway out to the north.
Well,
We got a
I'm not bringing it up because it was your intention, I'm
Yeah.
bringing it up because it was discussed
Right, yeah, no, I
in
did,
certain company,
yeah,
so,
In
okay.
an emergency situation, you can get access to it.
Yeah.
You had to.
yeah.
Okay. I was referring to a possible improvement of some kind from 133rd, so,
I mean, they have a existing road cut there, if they ever wanted to do that.
well,
The fire chief,
since-
the
since
fire
there-
chief was in that department meeting
Yeah.
when we discussed all of that.
okay. Well, I didn't see anything on here, so I wasn't sure what the outcome of that meeting was, but I do remember, hearing such a thing. So, okay, I guess, no one else has any questions or concerns?
No, sir.
Nothing? Okay. I guess, this will be good in 2 weeks.
We'll be at the BZA next week and, back here in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Very good, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Item 4, Black River Bells LLC, final plat for one-lot subdivision. Owner ARDT 3 LLC, 8205 Sterling Falls Circle, Sarasota, Florida. Petitioner, Black River Bells LLC, 7915 Kensington Court, Brighton, Michigan. The vicinity is 11109 West 133rd Avenue, Cedar Lake. Petitioner is requesting a final plat. Is there anybody here regarding item 4? Jeremy Wagner, you here regarding the Taco Bell?
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
Okay. All right, do you have anything, for the commission at this time, Jeremy?
no, I'm just here to answer any questions.
Okay. Mr. Oliphant, any concerns or comments?
So the biggest change from the past meeting would be the elimination of access into Ed's Auto Body. That is completely out now. So they expanded their detention basin kind of in that general vicinity, and that access is now completely cut off. So,
So it cannot be restored?
not unless there's a future agreement.
Okay, but the stormwater is not blocking it off?
No, but they did expand their stormwater into where that
Expanded it
road
east?
was. Yeah.
Expanded it east?
So it got rid of one of their underground storage basins. Right
Okay.
above ground. So
Okay.
that's your biggest change. Final plat, we're working on some minor things, but it should be ready in 2 weeks.
Okay, Mr. Austin, anything? No. Building department?
Nothing additional.
Good. Any commissioners have any questions or concerns regarding the future property on 41 becoming a Taco Bell?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, Don, is it safe to assume that there will be an island south of the light on 133rd in the future? Because this is a right-in and right-out arrangement, correct?
Yes, the future improvement in 2 to 3 years will have basically block access there, a raised median.
Okay. All right, Jeremy Wagner, you have any other final thoughts or concerns?
No,
Okay. All right, then I guess, we'll see this in 2 weeks.
sound good,
All
thanks.
right, thank you. Item number 5, MacArthur Elementary School preliminary plat for one-lot subdivision and site plan. Order petition of Crown Point Community School Corporation, 200 East North Main Street, Crown Point. Vicinity MacArthur Elementary, 12900 Fairbanks, Cedar Lake. Petitioner is requesting a one-lot subdivision and site plan.
John Dorrington with Dorrington Engineering, representing the Crown Point Community School Corporation for the additions and changes to MacArthur Elementary. What I am passing out is more information detailed in regards to what is actually being proposed.
One more if you want it, yeah.
The first page represents the property, and what you can see from this is that I brought the same drawing last time, only I had cross-hatching shown in the parking area, which made it a little bit difficult to read. The addition on the right-hand side of the page, or the east side of the building, is the gymnasium. Later on in the packet, you will see there's a detail as far as what's being proposed within the school itself. The west side of the building, there's an add-on to the building that is to be some classrooms. The parking that is to the west side and the turnaround is for pickup and drop-off of the children in the morning. The parking will be for, I assume, for the faculty. The parking on the east side of the building is being completely redone. It's generally the same as it was before. However, the old parking lot's being torn up and this new parking lot is being put in. There are two soft play areas. One, which is the small triangular shaped one, is outside of the, I believe that would be the kindergarten area. The soft play area south of the building, if you're not familiar with soft play areas, these are the very spongy foam play areas where children can slide down slides and not get hurt. And then there's also a hard play area next to that, which would be asphalt. All the sidewalks and everything within the complex are being torn out and replaced. The second page of your packet is an aerial view showing the two additions. The top left, that's the gymnasium, and the bottom, or the middle right, that's the classroom addition. It's not exactly correct because it doesn't show the cul-de-sac. The third page is another view. This would be looking at the side of the gymnasium. So it would be from the east. Generally shows what is to be done in regards to the canopy for the new entrance into the building. Fourth page, that's another view, only a lower view, I guess you would say, at a lower angle, shooting towards the gymnasium. And then on the fifth page, what you see there is what is actually within the building, which are all of the blue, and then the media, kitchen, cafe, building storage, and administration. Those all exist. The classrooms, which is the building to the west, is shown there. There are, whatever that is, 11 new classrooms. And then the gymnasium with a stage is shown on the bottom, with north being to the right side of this page. And then the final page, I included that because that's the architectural drawing that depicts the size of the classrooms, things of that nature. They have much more detailed drawings than this. However, this pretty much shows what the classrooms look like. The gymnasium, the new stage, the whole shop. With that, that ends my presentation, and I'm open for any questions that you might have.
Okay. Hang tight. Don, other than your letter here, is there anything that...
We've actually gotten through 2 reviews since the last time we came before us. We sent one out this afternoon, or tonight.
I have not seen that one.
Yeah. We had gotten the photometrics a couple days ago, so we kind of held our review until we got that finished today, so you should have it in your inbox.
You got the landscaping also?
And the landscaping plan, yeah. The biggest thing would be related to zoning, really. Right now, it's zoned as R2. That causes issues potentially for use and for several variances and setbacks, I guess. So, I know staff has been discussing this internally about if it's better than PUD, because R2 creates issues.
Okay. Mr. Roshan, anything right offhand?
Everything he said and a lot more.
Okay, all right. Jill? No?
On this one, and discussing it with the town attorney, the PUD is probably the route to go.
Okay.
Is it easier, Bill, to just change it to the proper zoning for a school?
What is the proper zoning for a school, John?
Good question. What's Hanover?
And
PUD.
Is it the,
It's all PUD over there now, 141st
all cities and towns typically just,
In my experience, it is. It's the third time I've seen Don in a year and a half.
I have,
interesting.
I kind of want to get to the root cause here. What is the number of students that this is going to increase to? Are we adding room for 100 kids, 200 kids, no kids?
The math, yes, no.
I mean,
We'll have children.
well, I mean, this is, there's like a lot of school projects.
750.
750 more
750 is the total.
total. How many are there now?
That I don't know, probably.
400 or 500.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're making room for all
Bob,
these neighborhoods?
no. I'm sorry, do you know, or is that just a speculation?
That's what I was told. I don't know that it's fact.
It's probably online somewhere, we can check.
I mean, I'm just curious overall, we're jamming a lot of stuff in here. We have more traffic, maybe some better traffic with the cul-de-sac. The school has not bought any property to the east, right? This is all the existing
Correct.
existing property, because there was some property to the east that was for sale.
Well, it's shown on there too, it's shown on
Sorry,
the
west,
cover
you're right.
page.
Sorry,
To
John.
the west, yes.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
a single-family house with a
I
swimming pool.
mean, I'm kind of thinking the PUD is the way to go. We have neighborhoods blowing up, a stone throw from there, and Fairbanks has really may have some problems with traffic.
Well, that's the other item kind of up for discussion too, is do you want it to be public way improvement? So 129th was reconstructed around 4 years ago now, with curb and gutter. So I don't know if that one.
There's no more right of way to have, is there?
No, especially because they're building, especially how 129th is, would be within the 30-foot setback, as we go through the one lot stuff. So that was already automatically one variance right there, just for legal non-conforming. But, I mean, for instance, Fairbanks was just repaved last year. It doesn't have curb and gutter, there's no lighting or anything like that. So there are opportunities. They are installing sidewalk along the entire frontage along the east, which is missing now.
Half of it was paid last year and the other half
Yeah.
the year before.
Yeah.
There are 440 students, by the way,
Right now.
if the interweb is correct.
Good guess, Bob.
So we're,
Yeah, right in the
Well, that's
middle.
what I was
so we're,
told.
so we're almost doubling the.
Don't we need to be concerned with what is actually going on in the area also? And John, to your
Well, that-
question about, this isn't a project in the middle of a cornfield.
Right.
Where there's no impact or immediate adjacent. We have homes, I was up there, I check on Bob about 3 times a week, going by his house. And, the homes across the street, they're 50-foot or 40-foot rights of way. It's residential, zoned R2. It almost ought to be treated, which is the reason for the PUD, the planning reason for the PUD, not the emotional or we're out for the school. Because of the planned growth that is happening in the area. When we start building the water tank and we extend the water supply because we're connecting that to the water tank and the distribution system, be another 1,000 homes in the vicinity in a foreseeable time, not tomorrow perhaps, but foreseeable time. And this is a project, when you look at the plan, the conceptuals that Mr. Tringa provided us 2 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago. There's no more room for anything to happen on this property.
Right.
And what's happening on this property, if it goes up to 750 student population every day, is we're adding 60% sizing to the property for under roof. It's all pretty substantial. How you get in, how you get out, how you deal with safety issues. I kidded Bob the other night about his house being needed for a roundabout over there. Might still be right, but.
There is property to the south and west of the school that probably could be utilized if they could purchase it.
Not very buildable though, is it?
Well, that's not what's in front of us.
No.
So, and
But
A good
I don't
plan
want,
though.
I don't wanna see you crush this thing, because I want the school to stay in Cedar Lake. I don't want them to move it somewhere else.
I
enough.
understand, but
Right.
I don't want you trying to
We-
leave,
we
I don't want
had-
you trying to leave the house and have to listen to 4 songs on the radio so you can get going down the road.
I have no
So-
problem with that.
Yeah, I know, you don't have anywhere you have to be.
No, he doesn't.
Other people do. That's kind of what I'm thinking about is the overall impact. And that many more kids invites that many more buses. So,
But again, it's a grade school, so people aren't driving to school.
there are I'm talking about traffic.
Drop
I'm
off.
talking about traffic. I didn't say drivers.
Yeah.
There are currently, families that live outside the town of Cedar Lake in Center Township that go there. And it's my understanding that they intend to have at least 700 kids at all their elementary schools.
Yeah.
And if any of you are interested in coming to listen to the Crown Point Superintendent, he will be speaking at a chamber luncheon Tuesday, March 8th at 12 noon at the Cedar Lake Ministries or the Bible Conference Grounds, and the cost for that is $16.50.
I thought they moved it to Wednesday.
It was Wednesday, and the superintendent couldn't make Wednesday, and they moved it to Tuesday.
Even the superintendent's gotta be places.
This is true.
Does anybody think a PUD is a bad idea?
No, it sounds like that's
Sounds like
normal.
All right.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
the school corporation's attorney called me today. We visited on this, and we left the conversation with the concept of a PUD proposal. And she's not here tonight, obviously, but that did happen today, and there was no legal objection to it. There may be for others, but
Okay. All right. Chris, any thoughts?
I think PUD probably is gonna be the way to go. As Attorney Austin and Engineer Oliphant stated, there's gonna be some traffic concerns and improvements, possibly needing to be considered by the Plan Commission here, as well as utilities.
Yeah. I mean, I totally understand maximizing the space. I think the cul-de-sac in the back for dropping off is great, but traffic is traffic, so. How are you tonight?
Good, how are you?
I'm good.
I'm Deanne with the Skillman Corporation, if I could provide some clarification.
Sure.
Question was asked as far as capacity, and to clarify Don's comment, it's designed for a capacity of 700 students, to your point. That's the vision district-wide across the Crown Point Community School Corporation. Now, what the overall thought is for redistricting, there are some schools that...
Well, that'll definitely have to be done someday.
So the point is, some schools may be exceeding their functional capacity, where others still have room. So there's no scenario that the additions that you see right now would ever exceed that, because again, there's that capacity, there's a magic number there where a school corporation has to make a decision if they build another one, relocate, whatever that is.
Well, I'm sure there's a business plan formula of some kind. So, I guess PUD's probably the way to go. Again, does anyone have any objections to a PUD?
No.
Okay.
Lakeside goes there, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, besides that, where else are we gonna get a ton of students from? That
Well, the
Well,
addition, there's more.
Robin's Nest will continue to go there.
They're already there though. I'm
Right,
saying in
and-
addition to.
but if you got Lakeside, it's half inch south.
Yeah.
How many lots do we have up there?
There's enough property for over 1,000 homes heading toward the antenna over there.
Yeah. East.
In the pipeline now.
Southeast.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I expect after the east side water main and water projects have been completed, there's
Yeah.
gonna be significant growth on the east side of the community.
Yeah, I mean, getting ahead of this now is a great idea, and I don't think anybody wants to squash it, Bob, we're just trying to get it dialed in.
Okay, because Jimmy Cubel, who's Brian Cubel's dad, fought hard to get that school placed in Cedar Lake. He wanted the kids from Cedar Lake to have a school within our community, even though it's part of the Crown Point system.
I got you.
You defeated Bob.
Okay. Jill, anything else?
No, PUD would keep it in front of this body. They wouldn't have to go back and forth to the BZA, correct?
No, we could, do
Everything would be
all
negotiated in
nuances to be
the
dealt
PUD.
inside the site plan of the, PUD and the PUD agreement.
May I ask a question?
Certainly.
So the Board of Zoning Appeals is not necessary if it becomes a PUD?
Well, Don's letter mentions, I'm glad you said that, Don's letter, section 3 on page 2, it says several variances may be required based on the site plan and setback list. So,
The PUD, at least, it gives you some gravity to, include that in the document where it's part of that actual zoning. So, yes, if it's written right, we should be able to stay out of BZA.
When are you planning on building?
This summer, starting this summer,
And when would the end of construction be?
2 years.
So kids will start going in 2 years, is that,
No, there'll be construction going on while the building's occupied.
okay, but to get up to 700 will be in,
Well, and I don't know what the plan is as
Okay,
far as
all right.
when they're redistricting, if they're redistricting, any of that, but there's just
but
planning.
it's got to be done before they can send it there.
Yeah.
Don and Deanne, I have one question I just noticed. Is there any way to relocate that northern entrance off of Fairbanks in line with the 129th connecting roadway into Lemon Lake, so we don't have that staggered intersection?
Well, the reason that it wasn't done, is because that's the bus entrance.
Is there a way you can tweak that site plan to make it one large intersection versus an offset?
I actually mentioned that to the architects when they started, and they said that if they wanted to proceed with this is what they wanted to proceed with, so I'll mention it to them again.
Okay. I mean, the preference would be to have an actual, four-way control stop there versus
Understand.
the staggered one which you have now.
You mean here?
No, here.
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
Once the decision by the school corporation is made to pursue a PUD or not, then all of these details need to be hammered out.
Yeah. I know we're getting into some more designing now.
Well, no, and that's okay, but
Yeah. Well, as Don Oliphant looks this over, he's going to have more
I would think.
questions and suggestions
I would
for
hope.
Mr. Tringa. So, okay, I guess that's kind of where we're at with this. Pursuance of a PUD seems to be the pleasure of the planning commission.
I don't have an issue with that, it's basically information that Cheryl Zick has to put together anyway. So my question is, how do I proceed? Do I have to do public hearings for a Board of Zoning Appeals meeting or not? Do I just come back to the next meeting?
I guess we need to be, we as in you, need to be absolutely sure of what those variances may or may not have to be.
I want to ask a question,
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman. So this turnaround, this cul-de-sac,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a cluster. Is there any way to make this road go south and then come back out on 129th?
Why is it a cluster though?
It'll be jam-packed with cars trying to turn on 129th going west, and then turning left down there, and you got a couple people parking there, and they're gonna wait for little Billy to come out, and Billy won't come out, and then Jill's waiting, and
Listen,
now it's backed up, and it's a
I spend a lot
disaster.
of time in Jane
waiting
Ball's
to
pick up
happen.
and drop off line.
Yeah.
Those people are like,
But we go around the school at Jane Ball.
what's the difference while you're going around a cul-de-sac and coming back out?
To me, it seems like a disaster. If there's a way to go continue it south and run it on the south side of the youth baseball field, I think it's just better, maybe close the gate, except for school hours.
There's 50 or 60 cars that park on 129th right now to pick up the kids.
That's
and
the other
this has
side
been going
of
on
it. This
for
gets
years.
them off the road. It doesn't change the amount of traffic, and the more parents that are picking kids up, the more traffic.
Yeah, but if you take that cul-de-sac straight south, of course, there's the detention easement there, and then you run it east.
It would be snug.
Would it-
If they wanted to
It's our
keep it
chance
soft.
to fix it.
I'm just thinking about
Fix it.
safety and
I mean, it's
and
possible.
traffic flow. It's a one-way,
Oh, I-
Lincoln School.
And Lincoln School is great because, not Lincoln School,
Jane Ball?
the new, the grade school,
Yes.
the remodeling they're doing, because they have all this stacking asphalt.
Yeah.
I mean, there's miles up back.
This is gonna stack right out on 129th.
This is actually allows for double stacking, and somebody said 50
Exactly.
spots.
Yeah.
This is gonna hold approximately 90 vehicles.
Right.
Okay, I think what we have to sort out, is what variances there may or may not be done, and how we want to handle those particular details, because your section 3 here is,
Well, if you go to the PUD, like David said, I mean, it's going to be on a site plan, which is going to be part of your PUD.
Yeah.
And in some form or fashion, also written into the language of the PUD typically.
okay, well, Mr. Tringa wants to know, is there going to be any visits to the BZA?
No.
I'm not sure we can say that right now.
Right.
Okay.
It's not likely,
Yeah.
but a bit of review in-house here
Yeah,
and dialogue with professional staff.
I guess, Mr. Tringa, the answer is, we don't know yet.
Well, as far as what, was mentioned in his first, maybe second review, I don't know, first review. The building line that is on 129th, which didn't really exist before, is through the existing building. It requires a variance. The parking is within the building line. There's one parking space, which we could get rid of. There will be drive aisles, but we've been through that before. So I don't know what other variances are necessary. There may be some, I don't know.
Signage in the front yard, setback off Fairbanks, the monument sign.
What's wrong with the setback off Fairbanks sign?
Well, no, the monument sign is
Oh,
within the front yard
monument.
setback. The other one would be how we, right now, since this was submitted prior to the new zoning ordinance, we have that crazy formula of the parking again. I think you showed it on your site plan.
It's insanity.
Yeah, it's 700, but the PUD gives us
350
some
parking
levity
spaces
to,
plus the faculty?
yeah, we can reinterpret that like we did for the junior high.
PUD gets better, it makes it better.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a problem with that. I just want to know what I have to do.
I think we probably need to,
You have to realize, I was under the impression that I was going to be able to come in at the end of March and get this done because they obviously want to start. If that's not the case, it's not the case. I just need to know what I need to do.
Attorney Zick and I talked about a schedule, and it looks like an April-May schedule, depending upon readiness, preparation,
Well-
review time.
ultimately, what you come up with in 2 weeks as an update on this item, one more work session and a meeting, and we probably will be on the way.
Yeah, I mean, engineering wise, we're through 2 reviews on the engineering basics. I don't think there's any problems with the general site plan from that perspective.
I agree.
It's more just kind of vetting out the zoning issues with current zoning and what it may or may not be. So,
You're gonna put sidewalks in front of the school on Fairbanks side, correct?
Yes.
And I have to thank them for that because the town took away the Safe Grants to School money and gave it to Jane Ball because they needed more money. And the town was supposed to go ahead and put those sidewalks in, so they're gonna save us some money by putting the sidewalks in.
Hey, Bob, what do you think about putting, the homeless bulldogs on the water tower over there?
Town of Cedar Lake. We are CL.
Sorry to change the subject.
But Bob's watching you.
That's right. This isn't about east versus west anymore.
No.
We're all one happy town. No more east and west, Bob.
Right.
No more Dan Ball and MacArthur. We're helping all kids.
And Lowell.
He said. Okay, I guess what we need to wait for is, Mr. Oliphant's, vetting of a few of these details.
Yeah.
We should probably meet sometime in the next week.
Yeah,
And
is there be a staff meeting with all of you?
Yeah, easily, we
I
did.
mean, that would probably be the
We
quickest.
should do whatever we can to try to keep them on track so they can
Well,
break ground and
I
finish what they need to
think
finish by school.
I think a staff meeting would help, put things on.
Yeah, for sure.
We did that with the Hanover project, it gets things
Okay.
uniformly started.
All right, Chris, Jill, you guys gonna wave that flag? Okay.
Work with David to schedule time.
Okay.
Are
Usually
you
Friday,
asking
Friday
us?
around 2, he's good.
Are you asking us to be there or the staff?
No, you guys also.
Because I'll be out next week, so you'll have to attend.
Because
Mr. President, you were asking for an update in 2 weeks. That's your public meeting. Were you wanting to continue this work session item in 2 weeks?
No, I just wanted to make sure that where this was gonna end up going after your meeting.
That's why I wanted to
No, I
double
just
check.
wanted-
I was
I just wanted-
interpreting it as being an agenda item for continued
I think an
work session
update,
discussion.
you know, a 60-second update here gets us in the right place and we can keep going.
Is it
They
helpful to
keep
have
going.
them here though, again, so we can make sure they're
If
staying on
it's-
track?
If all the right people are at this gathering, I'm gonna trust it's on track.
Okay. I just wanted to double check.
I mean, there's, like I said, Don's letter here is at section 3, and, you know, I mean, ultimately, Heather, even if the staff comes to some kind of mutual understanding, we still vote, so.
Yeah, I'm good, it doesn't affect me how long it takes, but I'm just saying,
Yeah, no,
well done.
I mean, I'm not seeing anything here like Mr. Tringa said, you know, the building line's already in the building, and it's kind of messy already, so. And this is gonna be a one-month subdivision, right?
It will be.
It will be, okay. All right, I guess then, you guys need to set up a meeting with these folks and get it dialed in. Mr. Oliphant, you'll be there?
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be good. Mr. Sharp, you gonna be there? Friday at 2 o'clock.
I'll be there Friday, 2 o'clock.
Wait, Friday? No.
Not Friday.
No.
Not Friday.
You're not having meeting on Friday at 2 o'clock?
Friday or Monday.
All right, thank you. Okay, have a good night.
Don and I
I guess you
confirmed
were
we're
here.
not available.
That's a hard no, that wasn't even like a maybe.
No,
It's not Friday.
I heard there's gonna be staff meetings at Friday at 2 o'clock.
Maybe another state.
Saturday and Sunday.
No, you get way more mileage out of Friday at 2. What are you laughing about? It's gonna be your house. All right, item 6, 141 Partners LLC Concept Plan. Mike Neubauer, 8913 West 142nd Place. Okay, yeah, petitioner, the owner's Mike Neubauer, 8913 West 142nd Place. The petitioner, the property is the same, the property is 10702 West 141st Avenue, Cedar Lake. Good evening.
Hello, sorry, Mike Neubauer, my buddy Russ to do all the talking.
Russ Coleman, DVG.
Address for the record?
My name's Mike Neubauer.
Address for the record?
Oh,
Name and address.
My address?
Yes.
My address is actually 2802 East 139th Avenue in Crown Point, but that was my address when this all started.
All right, so we got wrong information here. We gotta start over, don't we? Okay, hello, Russ.
Yes, Russ Coleman, DVG. How are you?
Good.
So we're gonna chat about a little concept plan here. What we got is, it's about a 9-acre piece that just got annexed, I believe, recently in December 2021. It is just west of Rose Garden. On the plan here, we're gonna do north up here. So the plan is for approximately 11, or right now we're showing 11 buildings. The 2 buildings that are up here are the office buildings, very limited staff. You know, 1 small bathroom in each building, and I think some showcases for the units, these self-storage units, really a couple, you know, nothing too extravagant. Some minor parking up along 141st, and then the actual storage buildings throughout the rest of the property. The property is adjacent, like I said, to Rose Garden on the east, and then the tracks on the west. You know, we're proposing, you know, 1 main drive, commercial drive. Along 141st, we're aware that we have to, when we go through the subdivision process, dedicate more right-of-way. We have to put in the sidewalks. We have to widen, you know, 143rd to the proper, you know, total 33-foot, you know, back-to-back width, which equates to approximately, I think, like 4 or 5 feet extra along 141st is what it entails. So we're going to have, you know, detention on the east. Interesting enough, the Rose Garden itself, it was, there's a drainage easement in a existing structure, storm structure, that took all this off-site area, which included our property, through the development, which we're gonna utilize that same, off-site flow. We have to account for it, get it through our site, into our proposed detention basin, and obviously through sanitary. Because we're only barely, one employee, maybe two, I don't know, speak two.
Yeah, one.
One employee, the bathroom situation would be very minimal. So, there's a public right-of-way for west of 141st Place, where there's an existing sanitary manhole that was in that subdivision. Because we're barely adding any additional flow, we're proposing to tap on, that sanitary, run it up to our building so we can serve our building. Water, there's a nice healthy size, I think it's 12 and a 16-inch water main along 141st, and then there's the water main in Rose Garden. We have to loop the water main tied up to both mains. We have our, these are non-sprinkle buildings, but we have to have hydrants along the development, which, meet ordinance, and then make sure we have enough space between the buildings to, route the fire truck. We're gonna, obviously, all ordinance items will follow. From a aesthetic perspective here, we kind of want to show you the intent and the rendering, what we're planning on. This is a nice little aerial view. And I want to, Mike to definitely speak if this is not his intent, but I believe the intent is to have nice looking, white buildings, black roofs.
Yeah, the intention is, of course, to fit in with the neighborhood, kind of have the storage buildings be behind them, better looking, front office looking, front buildings there.
Yeah, and I'll kind of flip to the office buildings. Very nice kind of residential feel, architectural look. Really, I think will go very well next to the Rose Garden development there.
Hey, Mike, do you have U-Locks anywhere else?
We have one that we don't manage it, but we invested initially in Mississippi, and then this is the first one that we're building. So we did residential real estate forever and trying to switch into.
Have you ever heard of a company called Track D Building Systems?
Yeah, yep. So, yeah, we're pretty familiar with, before we ever started this.
For these things.
Yeah, before we ever started this, we really kind of, talked to a lot of different people who had developed and built to get all this, types of different names and make sure it made sense going forward.
Okay, I appreciate the wonderful graphics there.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, it's very nice.
This is nice. Let me get through the other parts of this. Mr. Oliphant, any immediate concerns?
Not right now. We met with both Russ and Mike maybe a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Staff level and talked about stuff, and so right now it got annexed as ag. What is it gonna be zoned?
We're proposing B2 with a special use. We're still on board for that, in my understanding.
That's my understanding.
So we are going after a rezoning to B2 with the special exception.
Okay. Mr. Austin, any?
Special exception.
Or special
Use variance?
Use variance.
Okay, we want to make sure that's right.
Okay. Jill, Chris, you guys have any questions about this right offhand?
Seems pretty straightforward, and looks like there's gonna be a lot of, tension.
Yes, it does appear that way.
And the road improvements and the sidewalk would be good.
The sidewalk improvement would be a definite plus. Railroads are planning upgrades to those areas, so getting sidewalks up to the railroad right-of-ways kind of pushes the railroad's arm a little bit to improve that sidewalk in that area. I know, John, that's been one of the items you've been bringing up for years on residential development coming in. That would make the area more walkable, as we were just talking about MacArthur School, continuing a sidewalk over to that Hanover school complex.
I thought Jack Holmes was gonna.
I think they have a sidewalk on their plan, don't they?
Yes, that's what I'm saying,
Oh,
but
right.
Yes, we're
that
proposing
pushes it up to, that will complete that
Right.
section between Rose Garden and the railroad.
Then we just need to get with the railroad companies to.
And Murphy's already reached out, there's several intersections that have planned improvements over the next 5 years.
The southwest side of Beacon Point was discussed in this room once upon a time with Jack Hulse, and I don't think that ever got anywhere.
Similar fate. I guess, different railroad, but,
Similar fate, you said?
yeah, you grant a sidewalk to the right of way on the other side,
Okay.
also
Alright.
137.
But this increases your walkability as we talk about traffic at schools. One thing Cedar Lake wasn't able to do, I mean, without walking in a road or cutting through Strackenmanco's parking lot, was walk to school. And it's pretty amazing over the past 15 years, watching the kids that can walk to school now on the west side of the lake.
Yep, and stay off the railroad tracks.
Yes,
Okay.
be able to cut through Centennial, Beacon.
I have some questions. The buildings in the front, are they gonna have basements in them?
No.
Okay. Are the buildings in the front going to have businesses in them?
No, there's gonna be, basically what you consider kind of a high-end storage. Somebody's got more of technology equipment, computers,
So it's all
maybe-
gonna be storage?
It's all gonna be
Not a
storage.
daycare center, beauty shop, or any
No,
of that stuff?
nothing like that.
No.
And it is storage. Yeah, those would be a 12 by 12, but with a, a normal door on it, not a roll.
Climate control?
The front buildings, yeah.
Okay.
So those are just more of the high end, that's where, you kind of come, enter, get your unit, and then if you wanted, a very nice area where you knew it was inside a building and secured properly without worry.
All right, so all the storage that's gonna be here is going to be inside?
Correct, yes.
Okay. All right, and the screening to the east, 6-foot fence?
It's a 6-foot opaque fence.
I think that's-
The material up for discussion, whether it's wood or PVC, but it's opaque, obviously, per ordinance. The west proposing 6-foot chain link is what we're proposing at this time.
That's gonna come all the way to 142nd then?
What I'm showing right now,
The picture showing it.
the 142nd, actually, I'm not sure where is the 142nd.
I'm sorry, 141st.
Oh, yes, thank you.
I misspoke.
Well, I'm not taking, well, right now I'm showing, he's currently, the fence, entire area of enclosure, but coming up to the building, and in
To the
the
back of
corner
the
of the building, back of the building, and the gates would be in this area, and again, back at, actually, this one's gonna be in the front of the building, because I want the opaque part to go all the way to the building for the
I got you.
opaque screening.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not going the extra, 60 feet on the west.
We can do 6-foot chain link, can we? On the tracks.
Open for debate, can't be cyclone fencing, I know that. Chain link, I don't know.
Cyclone and chain link are the
Same
same
thing.
thing.
Okay, well then, no.
Or as I've been told, woven
I
metal
would
fence.
consider cyclone and razor wire.
Woven.
I don't think it's allowed.
I was reading the ordinance that, I guess, before it just got passed, right?
Just chain link thing.
So,
Me too.
Maybe.
yeah, business and, again, my notes were done when I was the other ordinance, so I found no, reason we couldn't do chain link in the old ordinance, but I have to look at the new ordinance.
Well, Hanover got it allowed, along 133rd, right?
You could include that in the zone change ordinance as a limitation, if you will, for the project. You're gonna have a zone change ordinance anyway.
Yeah.
I guess for security purposes, it would be nice to have, but also for security purposes, you can walk around and see through it too.
Is this a 24-hour access, like keypad kind of thing, or what's the plan for that?
It'll be keypad controlled, so no, it'll be roughly with the noise ordinances, and Cedar Lake will be the access to it. So I think, well, it was like 7 to 10 or something we initially thought will be the access with the keypad. So outside those hours, nobody's keypad, their access won't work.
Okay. The buildings look great, I mean, aesthetically, it's
Jared, what are the ones owned by your house, hours, till 7
7 to 9.
Oh, that late?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, the late wasn't the problem, the early was the problem.
gotcha.
And there's people back there who, get putting their boats away late, and they're having a rough time because they were out on the lake all day. And it's fun to listen to.
I imagine.
It's fun to listen.
doesn't happen here.
Your boat's not there. Your boat's at home. Okay,
We'll check on the fence. We'll let you know.
We'll have to review the new ordinance to see what the.
I don't know if the fence has changed much in the new ordinance.
I don't think it was.
I don't do. So.
Yeah, I mean, collectively, yes, I'd probably like to get a rule on it, because I couldn't find any negative, review of using a chain link for their ordinance.
I thought it got nixed a couple of years ago, but I
That's
could be
right,
wrong.
that's what I was thinking. And putting privacy slats in a woven fence would take a good portion of 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
So. Okay, does anyone have any other questions on the commission?
No.
I think I have a discussion or a question. So the rezone, our intent obviously is to do that as quick as possible. And I think I did at the time, I thought I submitted a variance for the number of buildings. Is that no longer needed at this point because of the ordinance has passed? Or am I misspeaking? I guess that's.
You mean for like lot coverage, or what do you mean?
Like more than one building.
Number of buildings.
Oh, outbuildings.
Of number of buildings.
I think that's part of the special use, right?
That's part of the special use.
Should be, yeah. Yeah. I think the fence may be the only hang-up.
That was part of the special use.
Okay.
You good? John? John?
Yes.
Rick, John? Don?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, I was just concerned about the buildings in the front having multiple tenants because we have a pending situation like that right now.
Yep.
So many square footage per tenant, now it's not that way anymore, so.
This is,
gotta
the intent is, that's his business.
High-end storage.
Yep, self-storage.
Okay. Okay, well, thanks again for the, wonderful graphics. This is, good stuff. Really good stuff. Okay, anybody else have anything? No, sir. All right. Okay, gentlemen.
Appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
That's a perfect thing for that spot.
Yeah, just fits.
Perfect thing.
Yeah, just fits.
Item number 7, building regulations and fee amendment. Do we need to, propose changes? We have some information left over from Mr. Everly. Would anyone like to speak on this matter? Jill, Chris?
This is, an item that was started back late last year to do some amendments, outside of the zoning ordinance amendments. Rick put a summary together of the proposed changes and additions to the building permit fee ordinances. This is that language requiring an as-built survey, language governing the expiration and extension of building permits, model home permits, demo permits, making demo permits only 90 days, not a year. A proposed ordinance language in Rick's style of the red highlighted, underlined, bold, showing what changes are being asked for. I know him and David, and I believe you and Nick had some discussions on some of these. There had been some confusion that we were trying to change all of the building permit fees in a swoop, but these are just some small portions of those fees that needed to be modernized, added in, adding in, sorry, because we just went right by it, covered porches into our fee structure and the multiplier. That has become something that's newer and more popular as you look at Lakeside, Beacon Point, all of those, adding in a way we can capture that square footage and fee. So some of this was a little bit of catch-all, and I know Rick and David had most of the conversations on this, but looking for some direction on the next steps to move this forward into something for you to send potentially a favorable recommendation to the council.
Okay, well, so this doesn't end up being a Christmas miracle. Would everyone like to look this over and discuss it? Any modifications that the Yes.
I have a question. David, would this be the document to potentially add in as-built requirements for individual lots?
Could be. Might be.
It's included in here.
Is it?
Yes, that's part of this. This is changing that whole yard bond, and we've been working on the, as-built ordinance, and the fee structure for that. This is putting this all as an upfront escrow, similar to what, other communities have done, instead of having it at the tail end. Putting in the as-built being due 10 days before you want your occupancy, so that way we're not getting an as-built 3 months after occupancy, so that way those items can be checked off on. So this is continuation of that zoning ordinance and subdivision control ordinance that'll need to be amended, and getting it into a format that you can make a recommendation on. And it's been on the agenda for several months, so this was the last communication, other than a couple follow-up back and forth emails between town staff and the town attorney. So I didn't know what direction you wanted to pursue on this one.
Okay. I guess I was asking about specifics of the survey itself. We had provided a document to staff a while ago that actually had requirements of what is supposed to be on a survey, because we get a variety of different stuff from different surveyors. So, we were hoping.
I was looking at it from the fee aspect.
Yeah.
And timing.
We were just trying to actually, because everything always says as-built survey, but you get different levels of details from every different developer. So, we actually put a document together that had what we want to see, that I would recommend that be an appendix, or at least be added to this document.
Where's,
Or into
that's
the
here?
subdivision control
We had
ordinance.
it. Yeah, it's been written for quite a while.
Okay, so it's not, okay.
Yeah, it's done.
Right. You know, this as we're talking,
Send it to me.
as we're talking about these as-built, surveys, anybody refresh my memory, is there property that we don't need a survey for to build a new home on? And if you got a vacant piece of land, an old an old platted lot, don't you have to have a survey before you start building? Somebody says, I found the old fence post and all that nonsense, they have to have a real survey, right?
Or a locate.
Generally.
Well,
There's
that's,
location
that,
report, yes.
what?
Well, you do your fence permits off a surveyor's location report.
Yeah, what, I'm talking about a house being in the wrong spot because we started with nothing, as opposed to ending with a survey where the house is, it's not correct.
Well, generally,
Not
building
on
department, they receive surveys for, say, pre-platted lots. We absolutely don't require them necessarily for these newer subdivisions that have approved.
No, I'm talking about
plans.
these old neighborhoods that
Typically
have
is,
these
yes.
pieces of property. You know,
Yeah.
you said locate, John, but
Yeah.
locate is not the same as a survey, which is the detail that Don's talking about. Elevations,
Typically,
as we saw at the BZA meeting, there were elevations, new and old, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those, we don't have the approved plans to go off of. You know, there's not a top foundation that
Yeah.
was approved by this board.
But if you have a document that gives a definition of a survey,
Yeah.
if there's already a document for that, then let's get it in there.
That comes in with the building permit effectively.
Yes, but you said didn't you say we needed to include that in
No,
the
so.
definition of a survey? The detail?
I'm talking about the as-built. So, the actual
Not the
individual
pre-built, the
lot.
as-built.
Yeah, not the site plan.
Okay.
Kind of consider that a site plan. But the as-built. Because we have an as-built requirement in subdivision ordinance as an amendment several years ago, but that's more for public infrastructure. There's really not one for as-built for individual lots.
Okay, well, I don't know if anybody has an objection to what Don's asking for. I think it's a great idea. An as-built.
It'll at least,
So we don't get into trouble with his gutters. His
it'll
gutters
just
over
uniform
mine.
the system, because we get very different levels of detail
Oh, yeah.
from every different
I'm
survey.
sure this house is not in the right spot.
And you've already done that document, correct? Is that what you're
Or
saying?
his-
Yeah, it's together.
His gutter,
Can you
his
send that to
gutters,
everyone?
his gutters too far over.
Yeah, no, it should,
Did you say could be?
It is,
could be.
everywhere.
Jerry, I would like to review what Don has in this and then talk about it
I agree.
again.
I agree. Can you shoot that to, all of us?
Yeah.
And, let's put this on the, to-do list for next,
For April first.
Yep,
Next work start.
April 1. April 1's a Monday, or Wednesday?
Yes.
Okay,
Lovely. April Fool.
April 1.
I think April 1.
Mom's birthday.
No, doesn't sound right. No, April 7th.
You said, what is it? What'd you say, April 7th?
April 6th, whatever.
We've got 3
April
days.
7th.
April 6th work,
That
okay.
first April
All right,
was.
are we gonna mess?
That's spring break.
Are we gonna mess, where are you going now?
Denver spring break, I don't know.
Huh?
Somewhere.
Go back down there to mile marker 0.
I'm going to Phoenix. Gotta golf, I gotta get better than John this year.
You're not going to Ukraine, are you?
No, not going there.
Okay.
I gotta get better than John at golf this year, Jerry, I gotta go
Well,
to Phoenix.
you can go to Ukraine, you'd be a better shot, but it's not that kind of shot. Okay,
Makes sense.
then, Don, send us what you got, and, please, everybody, look this over. Not doing this sooner than later, we're not messing up anything, pending, projects
It
or
would be
anything.
advised to move forward with this, as this has some fees associated with it, and a way for us to collect those fees and the revenues for the community, for those improvements being made.
Okay.
So this document's been going back and forth for a couple months, and I know the zoning ordinance really took up a lot of everyone's time and resources.
Yeah, well, I'd like to think this thing would be,
I just think it's something, maybe even if we break it off in a couple bits and pieces, that Chris may be able to bring some additional resources in on this as well.
Jill, you sent us this, right?
Yeah, this has been, we've sent it, Rick has sent it.
I mean, didn't you just send it though, like last week?
Yeah, I resent it.
I just wanna make sure I had a recent copy.
Yeah, this is the same exact thing that went out in January 5th.
well, I'd like to think that this can be in use about as quick as the new zoning ordinance can be. Because, having those, trail each other just seems like poor planning. So, let's, look it over, if you see any problems.
But a lot of this
Feel
is
free to-
billing though, so.
Yeah, I know. But if you see anything, send it out in the email chain, even questions. Send all your questions to Chris.
He's the man.
You may.
He's looking for something to do.
You know, or if this is something you guys wanna consider and take it off in bite-sized chunks, so, for example, the escrow and the as-built, and take it all as one chunk of that, and then move on to the next section.
No,
I mean, can we just knock it out in a 6 to 7 meeting one day, after we all review it?
I think if everybody goes through this and has no issues with what Don wants, but I don't know why we can't do it in one of these meetings.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's do
I
it.
mean, there's only a few pages here, there's not.
Should be a lot quicker in zoning.
Unless you see a snag with that, Jill. No? Okay.
Get her done.
No,
Yeah, I think,
Chris is all good with that,
okay.
6 to 7.
Okay. No, yeah,
We've been here till 11 o'clock, so as long as it's before midnight, we're fine.
you check out anytime you like. You can never leave. Okay, that was item 7. Since there's no public comment, this is a work session, is there any, well, there is one or two maybe other things. Is there any information on our, Melody Hill Marina?
No, they
I thought you told me there was.
I received an email, 3 emails from her and a representative, and
Who's her representative? Like an actual lawyer? or-
no, someone who's actually coming up with a timeline, a plan of what they want to develop over there, and I'll be honest, I just haven't had time to sit down and fully vet it.
Is it like a 10-year plan?
Me and
or-
Michelle have been going back and forth on some old ordinances and the new zoning ordinance the past couple days, and
Well, the fact of the matter is, the business
I
has
have-
been running for a couple of years. It's in total violation of anything they're doing over there.
Which
Almost.
business, Chair?
Melody Hill Marina.
Oh.
There's no parking, there's no blacktop, there's nothing. So, Chris, Jill, would you give Chris everything you have?
Yeah.
And let's get this ball a kick down the field.
What is the name of it? Melody Hill?
Melody Hill Marina.
Oh, I didn't know that.
right behind the
What
hill
do you mean
bar.
you didn't know that?
I knew where it was, I didn't know that was the actual name.
She's got a sign up by the road.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, get that dialed in. Is there anything else that needs, any, tweaks or modifications?
I have one item that I will anticipate coming in front of you, Bob. My apologies, I hadn't had a chance to catch up with you on this one. I discussed it with David briefly yesterday. As Michelle and I have been going through some files and clearing some things up, we realized that Cedar Lake United Methodist Church never went for their final plat. That was the food pantry. In everything that occurred in 18 and 19, somehow the ball got dropped on this one, whether it was them, whether it was us, it doesn't matter. In discussing this with David, this could be a ministerial thing to continue their...
This is a no-brainer, Bob's gonna shut them down tomorrow.
I worked hard over there today.
You know, COVID may have thrown the curveball in this, but how, is this easy to fix?
It's an easy fix.
Does it get fixed in here?
Put it on the agenda and vote on it.
They need to give you a quick little letter that says, we need an extension of our primary plat that has expired inadvertently due to circumstances, and you'll solicit a motion, a second, and a vote to extend for 1 year the primary plat. They didn't need to get the final plat done, but...
Okay. Well, they're gonna take a year to get the final plat done.
Well, that's what's in your ordinance.
Okay, all right.
You have 1 year from primary plat approval.
Bob, once we
Move it on and...
Once we get the extension, Bob will speed the rest of it up.
I was told that another councilman took care of this.
It doesn't work that way, Bob.
Yeah,
No matter what
that's what I
anybody
was
thinks.
told.
Didn't happen,
You know-
I guess.
This east side of the lake.
I won't mention the person's name.
That would not be right, Bob.
Does it start with a J?
Chuck, he's the only one.
Wasn't me, I wasn't involved. Just you can say the name, Bob, it's okay.
No, I won't.
No, you don't often say, "I'll take care of it."
I know, no, I delegate. I'm some dumb.
Plausible deniability.
That's right.
Okay, so this is easy to
That's
fix?
right.
You gotta send them a letter or whatever's
We'll
gonna
have
happen?
discussion
Okay, all right.
tomorrow, early
All right.
next week, and get this rolling.
Remember, Bob, they don't have to torpedo anything or tear it down.
If I happen
It's all
to,
good.
if I get that information, I would anticipate having it on your next agenda in March
Okay,
for your action.
okay, so, that's it on your
That's all I
end?
got.
Chris, anything else? Bob, thanks for doing the pledge.
Nice to have you back, Bob.
Dave?
Good to be back.
The item on the building regulations and fee amendment, I'm glad it's being circulated. That is on it was on my plate. The zoning ordinance had to be finished. It was the priority because of the lake dredge ecosystem project, all of which is on task.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I accept.
Got a lot of yeps.
Beautiful.
Got a lot of yeps.
Yes, sir.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions or concerns, anything?
Go.
Everybody's good? Everybody's ready to go? All that wanna leave, aye?
All right.
Aye. Okay. Have a good night, folks.